everybody, this is Grace. And this video, I'm going to talk about people who live in glass houses. Okay. First, I want to mention that, you know, the weather's been finally warming up here after last Monday, well, of last week. The wind chill was 4. Yeah, and this is Texas. Yeah, north of Dallas. But, yeah. And then it got into the 70s, you know, highs later on in that week, like 2 or 3 days later or something. Anyway, there was a lot of wind. We have a lot of wind here. And, I mean, howling wind. And to me, it was just so much of this wind, I was starting to think that it needs to come to a conclusion. You know? But and then later on I was thinking, you know, it's kind of like an opera, or something like that, something where it's building up and then you think there's going to be this grand finale and it's over with, but it was never over with. This wind, yeah. But anyway, let's move on to this about you know, people who live in glass houses. Now, basically, I remember hearing this since I was a child, I believe. You know, people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. Okay, and what I always thought of it as meaning, and I'm pretty sure it is that, you know, it's like when people gossip, do you think nobody could gossip about you? Or people who say negative, bad things about other people, malicious stuff. What are people saying about you? They're going, you know, your life is right there, how you are. People see it. They can make comments too. Nobody is without fault. Okay, people have faults. You too. Not just the people you're making these comments or throwing out this gossip about, bad mouthing, whatever it is. Yeah. And people who do that, really, you can see a pattern sometimes. Just even people who get older, you know, they're older, say, you know, a lot of people I think of this as when you're young and you know, like you don't, maybe high school and then on into your 20s, but no, it's not. They don't ever grow up this type that wants to be malicious. You know, say horrible things about people, gossip, like I said, all that. They don't tend to grow up, and plus they will have what some people call flying monkeys. You know, like on the Wizard of Oz. This noise. Okay, and some call them like mean girls, and they're mean boys with them. And, you know, like there's one of them especially who will do it. It's the one that throws all this stuff out, and then they have the flying monkeys. They have these mean, you know, other mean girls, other mean boys who are all on their side. It's a collective narcissism. Some would call it that. I might call it that. It just depends. But yeah, some call it a collective narcissism, you know, group narcissism. And, you know, like I said, they go out and they'll take up for that one person, even when that one person's bad. But why would they not think that person's bad? Some of it, I think, is just pure ignorance. Yeah, pure ignorance. Or that they're the same way as that person, which that person could be purely ignorant. You know, pure ignorance, yeah. So they can attack one person or one group, or, you know, this group attacks other groups. You know, it could be even something like, say that they all live in the United States and they pick fun on a different state. You know, make fun of a different part of the United States. You know, something so ignorant that it's obvious to people who understand that it's very ignorant to say that. And they're bullies, you know, and some people, other people, here's another expression, will call them on the carpet for it. You know, and they will say, no, do you see how much of a bully you are? Do you see how ignorant you sound? Along this line. And then they'll get some call them homies, you know, to take up for them. They're flying monkeys. They'll take up for them, and they'll, you know, they laugh and say that person's a bully, and the one that's doing it will cry and say, oh, why do people always picking on me? And they might be totally ignorant to their own behavior. I don't think so, but they could. They might. There's always a chance. You know, one size doesn't fit all anyway, in any of this, any side. But yeah, you know, there might be people they see as bullies are calling them on the carpet, when actually it's not a bully at all. It's somebody's just pointing it out to them. Do you listen? Do you hear yourself? Do you understand what you're saying? You know, and yeah, pretty much they do, don't they? Younger, I think a lot more people would expect. We do, didn't we? Or we do, didn't we? We do, don't we? When somebody's younger, you can kind of teach them that that kind of behavior is unwanted, that kind of behavior is childish. When they're a child, but not all children do stuff like that. But you teach them manners, you teach them ways to behave, and to not be so ignorant and not to throw out so much hate, to be careful what they say. You just don't want to constantly go around hurting people. You teach this to young people. Well, when they're older, are they going to learn? That whole thing of you can't teach an old dog new tricks. You can, but yeah, will this type even acknowledge it? I know what someone would say about narcissistic people is no, they never will. But I'm not a person who believes in one size fits all. But I do wonder, what would pressure them enough to where they would say, oh, I'm sorry, I finally get it. Because they might be around people where they live who are always like this. They always say negative things about other people outside of there. And it's just so much part of their culture, they don't see it. This is just the norm there. Can they step away and say, okay, this part of our culture, our norm is wrong, and it needs to stop. You see? Anyway, I'm going to go ahead and wrap this up. I think I'm starting to run out of memory here. On my phone, my camera. Anyway, I'm going to wrap it up. If you have a comment, leave it below. If you want to subscribe to this channel and you haven't already, click the circle. If you want to watch another video on this channel, click one of the rectangles. Like, subscribe, comment, and share on your own social media if you would, and I'll talk to you all in another video. Bye.